Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Brickwork Podcast. Our guest today is Anny Gonzalez, who works in the research and development for MPSystem, which provides automated parking solutions, and they're based out of Seoul, South Korea. Hi, Anny.
Hi, Jan. Very nice to see you again.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining me early morning there in Korea.
8 a.m. is starting the day really.
Oh, hope you had your cup of coffee here, so you'd be ready for this interview. But yeah, thank you again for joining. So let's start this off, and with general background from you, even starting at the company, and then also how you got into this industry.
Sure. So as you're already saying, my name is Anny Gonzalez. I work for research and development as well as business development for MPSystem in Seoul, South Korea. Well, a pretty little bit about me would be that I am originally from Dominican Republic and I came to Korea 7 years ago to actually pursue my education here. I'm very fluent in Korean and I graduated
Much
from
better than me, by the way. I'm Korean American, and I could attest your Korean's much better than mine. But anyways.
Well, we would have to test that if you would like to then.
Exactly.
So pretty much, yeah, I came here to pursue my education. I have a degree in international business and commerce from one of the top universities from South Korea. And I kind of I was born some interest in what is robotics and technological innovations in South Korea. And right after I graduate, I got recruited by this company to actually develop what will be the international partners and clients, as well as the social media and marketing. So I've been here for almost 2 years, and this is what we're doing here.
Awesome. And so tell us a little bit more about MP, which I know stands for Metro Parking System.
Yes. So MPSystem is three things. We are designers, manufacturer, and full service provider for what would be our core technology, which is fully automatic parking system with a kind of focus in palletless. We don't use pallets, fully robotic, and you could see it right here.
Yeah.
It's the two pieces, really small, compact robot that goes under the car and lifts it. We're kind of just making here parking very simple. We focus on high volume projects, more than 100 cars, 150. And we also have an external focus on what would be design, building facade, how users feel when they actually go ahead and see this parking system, we interact with this parking system, right? So you would say we focus on automatic parking system, but also on how people feel when they're going to interact with the system, kind of.
Right, and 100 cars would really mean like dense cities seeing application to this, right? Versus where I'm at right now, which is very suburban. There's plenty of street parking. So what differentiates you from your competitors? And why I'm asking that is, like you just said, I think that's an important point to make, is palletless, but then also design, is that not every project, no two projects are the same. You really rely on all the data that you're collecting first from where that project is going to be. So talk to us more about that and why you're different.
Well, very much is in the parking system industry. You all know, I don't know if you have knowledge of the different type of parking system that there are. There's like simple one, mechanical, and then the fully automatic one. Each one has a purpose, and each one brings an advantage for the developers and architects that decide to apply this system. So for us, we are in the fully automatic parking industry one. So with this type of system, what people are looking for is actually to reduce space, park the more cars in the less space again, and do it fast, the fastest way that they can. So they're going for the less retrieval time possible. So that's where MPSystem kicks in. We already have more than 30 years in the industry. Wow. And what we have done, we didn't start with the technology, actually. We started with another type of robot. There are some types of robots in the industry. You have the one frame, which is only one robot that goes under the car. You have the AGB, and then you have us, which is the two pieces robot, right? So the company started actually a long time ago with the COM type of robot, which is like a rail. It looks like a rail. It's a one frame.
Yeah, I've seen those.
On the car, right? So they started, but they noticed that the developers were still lacking some things with this type of technology. So what they do throughout the years is that they take one system, and after they have applied it some time, then they go there and upgrade, so they can actually provide more benefits to the developers and architects. There were some, I could say, barriers with the use of this robot. We were that it was very limited, the amount of cars and the size and the types that they could park using the same robot. So they say, okay, why don't we go ahead and split the robot in two? You know, when you have two pieces, then you can automatically in the entrance, as you can see here, you can have the robot adapt to any size of car right away, and people don't have to wait for like the robot come in and go out and look for another. No, you can cover more cars, more car size, and adapt right in the moment, which also like reduces the retrieval level. So MPSystem, and very briefly, we focus on providing the less retrieval time possible, efficient parking, with a focus on design. As I told you, in this industry, people usually, when they use a parking system, they only think about the benefits that it's going to be for the developer, for the architects, you know, the reduced
price point,
right? They go for the efficiency type. So again, our company has been doing that for some time, but now they show that, okay, but what about the people that are the ultimate users, that are the ones that are, in the moment that they're going to be in an entrance, they don't know what to do. There's no people operating or like supervisors around the entrance.
Parking attendants or valet.
Right. So people don't know, like, where do I have to push? What do I have to do? You know, I just dropped my car. So that's when we think, okay, let's bring some benefits for the people as well. You know, they're the ones who are going to be dealing with this parking system every day. That's where MPSystem kicks in. We actually care that anybody, any age, can go ahead and use this type of system without having so many questions, without thinking, oh my God, what do I do? Is anybody going to help me? No. We also give them a feeling that they have some type of lifestyle when they go ahead and use their system, which means that other parking system will just go ahead and put like a screen on you, and you just have to like click some buttons or input the actual car plate number. It looks kind of complicated, people don't know. But with MPSystem, we already have a mobile app. We're not using other type of like screen or anything. People are used to their phones. Anywhere in this country, that is something that everybody's common with. So they just have to download an app, they get a QR code, there is a scanner at the entrance. So they just come, drop their cars, get their QR code in their app, and then they go to the scanner, click and go, and the whole system is activated. This brings so much benefits for the people, is that anybody, any age can actually use it, and you don't need to have internet for it. You can actually use it offline as well.
Oh, so, yeah, because that's going to be another question I was going to ask you, is what if they're not getting signals? You know, in Seoul, in South Korea, the #1 in internet, speed, probably not having a problem, but, you know, we're in Los Angeles. So yeah, we're barely getting any speed anywhere. So that's great to hear that it can be done offline.
Sure. And like, we actually see a demand on this, because we use, you know, for parking, for our installing a parking system, you would actually need a generator, an extra generator in case,
that's right? Yeah, as a backup,
right? There are countries who have like an unstable supply of energy power.
Well, right? US and Texas, right? Look what just happened.
Really? I was going ahead and mention Southeast Asia, but okay.
You don't have to go far for us here. Texas was definitely out of power.
Well, you already know how kind of it works. So, but yeah, like, for example, we do have a lot of experience and projects in Southeast Asia, country like Cambodia, Sri Lanka, where power supply is not that stable. So we have come to the part where power just for 1 hour or two, it just run out. So the generator has to kick in. And that's when our management thought, okay, but if we provide a mobile app, what about the internet? They won't have Wi-Fi. So that's when they think, okay, so we need to provide an offline one. That's where it all came from. Like, I don't know if you could understand what I'm saying.
No, I definitely do. I've actually had an interest in automated parking for quite a few years, by the way. So I know what the implementation is locally here, but then at the same time, I know the different systems and challenges. So I'm actually really I really want more application here in LA. So that'll be a great segue. Now, so and this might have already changed, but I remember years back the challenges for implementing, let's just say, your system into apartments, right? And then we discussed this, and I know you're probably going to share that the countries that your systems are currently in, the cities, the applications was a necessity, not just a luxury. It was more of there was no way to fit parking the way maybe we fit it here in LA, right? Or in parts of the US, so dense, but you still need a place for parking, right? And so that's what you solve. Now, I think in LA, we could speak to that. There are certain neighborhoods that are getting denser and denser. Of course, parking is an issue, but at the same time, some of the developers are now thinking that people in LA are adapting and wanting these solutions. So, but one of the issues was the fire department. So in LA, when you want to get a project fully entitled and permitted to build, it does have to kind of go through that step. And I think the concern were some firefighters thinking if this was maybe higher than application where, let's just say, for example, it was an automated parking tower, right? And it's in downtown. It could be upwards of 10 stories or even higher, right? And it could fit all the cars. They were fearful of what if the cars were on fire? How would our firefighters be able to access and put out the fire? So if you want to discuss kind of that, and I know other concerns in other countries as well, especially to do with fire department. So if you could just share with us.
Now that you brought the fire regulations one, I have in my mind there's clear example that I can share with you, and it's like we have been, as you mentioned, in a couple of countries. We have United Arab Emirates actually. We have 2 project sites and like 3 ongoing projects going on in Dubai, between Dubai and Abu Dhabi. For our projects in Abu Dhabi, what has happened in the past is that for installing one of MPSystem, you actually only need the parking spaces, right? And we need empty corridors in the middle. So the shuttle system can actually go back and forth. So this middle space is usually empty, right? That's how our designs move along. But for Abu Dhabi one of our local distributors came to us and told us, hey, the fire stations and fire authorities are not able to approve this because you have this hollow empty space in the middle. You know, you have the sprinklers in every floor, but then just as you say, what if there is a fire with the cars in one of the floors? The firefighters need to access that space anytime, and this hollow in the middle would be a limit or a restriction for them. So how can you guys go ahead and still provide a solution in the less space, but you know, coping with these regulations, right? So in the moment that we get this type of, I would say, request would be in the design stage. You know, there are a couple of stages for you to actually go ahead and adapt a parking system. For the design stage is what we do is that we get all the dimensions and all the information from the people. And we go ahead and provide a solution. And now they take it to municipality, and the municipality would tell them, hey, we need it to be adapted to this type of specification. So that's what happened in Abu Dhabi actually. A local distributor came back at us and told us, hey, this is not going to work. You will have to go ahead and use another thing. And that's when one of MPSystem benefits kicks in, is that our system is not in a standard. Our system is custom to any project. So we actually have, we play with the lift, we play with the shuttle, we have various combinations, right? So when they came back at us with that request, what our engineers did was that they go ahead and adapt in another type of MPSystem, which is only like a car, lift, and shuttle system combination. So you would have the car lift in one side, and then you will have a shuttle system in each floor. So each floor will be independently, you know, concrete slabs everywhere separately, like a normal, I would say normal floors in the building, right? And then the car lift, it will be the only area that will be hollow because, you know, have to go back and forth. But then having a concrete slab in each floor actually gave the firefighters the ability to say, okay, we can work with this. You know, we just have to put an emergency stair in the corner that we can access
to get up to that floor. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's how they got it approved. So it's basically just go ahead and tell us in the design stage what do you need, what your municipality need to get this project approved. And then we, as with our expertise, go ahead and take our system and adapt it in a way that works for you.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Basically how it works.
I think the key point there is that you adapt to the municipality and everything is customizable with your engineers that will work not only on the municipality, but also the project, right? Like you had mentioned, I think beforehand about, you know, where's the traffic flowing? Where are the traffic centers? Where are nearby freeways? Like all of that factors into what you will ultimately recommend. So I really like that you guys have that in mind. I want to touch on one thing that you had mentioned, which are the features of your systems, right? Which is super cool. So we touched on the mobile app and you know, accessing it offline on your phone, which is awesome. But tell me about some of the other implementations. I have two that I wanted to ask you. Maybe you can talk further into it. One is the car wash. I've known about this years ago. I just never saw an actual application, which was the way it was brought to me years ago was they were like, well, you know, you could create an automated parking tower, not necessarily for housing or that's going to be within an apartment, but maybe standalone as a solution for an office building that's adjacent. Like we have office towers, but they're just concrete slabs, right? Where you just park in and out, not efficient with space, nothing automated. That's the normal stuff. But if you built an automated tower like that, you could always put a car wash at the bottom level, right? So that when you call your car in the app, it would go down, it would just be the automated car wash and would just come out and be ready for you at the base. So that's one thing I want to ask you about. And another thing I know we haven't gone over is, you know, I'm an owner of a Tesla. Obviously, as years go on, I think there are going to be much more, you know, electric cars and utilization. So if there's any features for charging stations or any sort of a way to charge within your system.
So I will start with the car wash first, because I think this is kind of new for this industry still. Is that when you have a parking system, right? You still have the big box, like a vending machine where you place all the cars. Space is a very important feature for adapting parking space. So the moment that if you think it as a car wash, a fully car wash with the brush and the water, that actually takes a lot of space for the parking systems, and it actually breaks with the whole purpose, you know, of actually like installing a parking system. So what we did is that we kind of bring it up with the times. So instead of, we call it car wash, but it's actually a UV steam sterilization system.
I see.
We use steam and UV lights, so can actually sanitize your car while removing light dust. You don't also, with like applying a fully car wash and parking system, you have a robots and you have electronics going up and down the parking space. So you cannot have a bunch of water just running in small parking spaces, right? Without thinking that it's not going to actually go ahead and damage the system. So adapting to this limitation as well is that we thought about, hey, these days people are really worried about the virus and the pandemic, and you know, the new normal, things will not be the same anymore. So let's go ahead and give people feel more safe when they interact with their cars. So that's for the UV lights are for. And the steam, right? And the steam is to remove light dust. So this system can be applied in one of the parking spaces, actually in the whole, we don't need that much space neither. And it's an option for the client as well. And it is activated through the mobile app. So we have this whole concept going out on MPSystem becoming a way of life, kind of like a way of making your life better. Imagine a residence building. You have a person waking up in the morning and they want to go ahead and set up a car reservation. So their car can be out when they are already like ready to leave for work. And while they are reserving their car, they can go ahead and activate the UV sterilization system. So when you are ready for everything and go out at the entrance, and your car is going to be already out and it's going to be clean. So it's about enhancing how people live.
I like how you put that. Yeah, absolutely. And so I think, oh, and the electric cars, the Teslas. So like in, you know, obviously urban cities, I think most of the people that adopt the Teslas or anything else is going to be within urban cities. So are there any charging options? Because even for me, I know, you know, I had to hire an electrician to you know, convert to 220 volt outlet, and then I got the whole, not the full power wall, but just the Tesla charging little station thing. And so, you know, in apartments, that's always the complaint is, oh, I gotta drive across to the Whole Foods because the Whole Foods has some chargers right in the parking lot and not my apartment. And I'm just thinking, well, wait a minute, I think automated parking would definitely solve this. But if you want to talk to some of your solutions that you guys offer.
It is actually a thing, you know, it's happening. There are a couple of companies out there that are offering car charging features with their parking system, but now are installing an e-charging station in a parking system. What kicks in is the type of system that is going to be used, meaning that if you go out there and do your research about the companies that actually have e-charging stations, the type of system where they're applying this are like simple stalkers or puzzle system, you know, mechanical, simple ways. But in fully automated parking system, adapting an e-charging station varies a lot because fully automatic parking ones are for high projects one. And then you have more than 100 type of different cars in it, right? And for the electric cars over there are like a bunch of other types that you have to be dealing with, right? So actually trying to standardize an e-charging station for all these cars, that's where the challenge is. For MPSystem, it's still in an early development stage because that's the main restriction that we have right now, is that we have a bunch of cars and we don't know how to provide the same e-charging station for all of this type of cars, all of this type of batteries, right?
No, so, you're right, because a pallet, if it was a pallet, I think that's where I got introduced to this years ago. If it's a pallet system, all they could do is just have a 220 volt outlet on that pallet. So while the car is on the pallet, it could be charging. But at the same time, is that being offered on every car, and how dense and how big that system could be limited based on because you're offering that, right? So
so you don't only have the Tesla, right? You have like Hyundai has
so
a lot of type of hybrid cars. So I think Korea would be the best place to actually go ahead and research about this, because in South Korea, we have a lot of different electric cars. Tesla has come lately, you know, after it became a thing, but before that, Kia, Hyundai, all these all they have like hybrid cars and like Samsung also with the Genesis. So this market will be perfect to actually research what type of a standard e-charging solution can be provided to all this type of cars, because people only think about Tesla, but there's so many types.
So many others,
right? They're like mixed.
I'm guilty. I just love Tesla so much, but I love the fact that they're pushing things forward. I just read Volkswagen is now going to go all electric by 2030. I'm like, yes, it's because of Tesla. Tesla was the one that pushed it.
It's a thing, you know, companies have to prepare because it's becoming the new normal lately. So there's going to be another adaptation to do there.
Okay. Well, I think you just brought up a perfect segue for in South Korea and implementation. So why don't you share with us kind of what your experience has been, I guess in the early days, right? Maybe some projects that were known, and then also now share with us, you know, how many projects or how many and how they're getting implemented. Are they all like, is it for, let's just say, parking within a shopping center, or is it part of the building? And some buildings obviously can have automated or the parking system. It could have retail, it could have hotel, it could have apartments.
Right.
Like I'm sure in Dubai, you have one building, you can put everything you want in those in that building. So talk to us about now I guess the adoption and how Koreans feel about having automated parking in the city or in the country.
So when comparing it real quick, when comparing it to how the west side of the world has been dealing with this parking system solutions, it's a thing now, it's new. There's people who don't know about it, who are scared of it actually, of go ahead and be the first to implement it.
Yeah.
But in this side of the world, what I can tell you is that they have more than 20 years. People, normal people are used to this parking system. Actually, when in South Korea has been like, the situation about parking has been like so much that when people don't see a parking tower and they see an actual concrete building with ramps, they are like, what, this is so old, why is this here? This is such a waste. You know, Korea is a super high populated like country. Seoul alone has more population than whole countries around the world.
20 million plus, yeah.
Right. So when you have so many people in one city and you have to accommodate all of them and their cars, this type of solutions are not a luxury, they are a necessity, right? And look into that demand is that this company actually started like more than 30 years ago. I'm talking about the 90s.
Wow, early days.
Right, and the 70s. So this industry is a very, there's a lot of competence locally, actually. There's a lot of companies because as it is a demand, people, more suppliers are appearing, so more competence, and they have to focus on other features than just providing efficiency, right? So in South Korea, I would say, as a person that has lived here for 7 years already, before I came to Korea, in Dominican Republic, you know, it's super different situation. We don't have parking system whatsoever.
There's no need, right?
Right? There's no need. And there was like a stalker, simple stalkers that were installed a couple of years ago, but still, you know. So when I came here and I came in front of one of these parking towers, I was actually super afraid. All these cars are just stuck in here. Like, what if they fall, you know?
I know.
And I don't know how to use it. Like, is anybody going to explain me? I didn't speak Korean by that time. But then actually, after you go around Seoul for some time, and not only Seoul, the other cities, you know, like Busan, the other maiden cities, right? This is so common. I think every country, I want to say country, every building actually in Seoul has a type of parking tower, even if it's a basement or like above a standing tower. This building actually has a puzzle type in the basement.
It's a puzzle type?
Right?
Yeah.
It's because there is no space. So parking towers are a thing. They are in almost every building in South Korea, shopping malls, residents, it doesn't matter because it's a need already, right? And you would, but here I do have noticed like a pattern that you won't have the big ones, the 900 ones, 800 ones, right? You will have parking towers that can provide parking for buildings. Buildings are not that high if it's residence type. There are like middle, I would say 6, 7 floors. So you would have a parking system for 50, 60, maybe 20 cars, but it's definitely a thing though.
Got it. Yeah, I just want to highlight that beyond even Korea, like obviously Japan and Tokyo being super dense, Germany, these are all the cities in the world that early on had a need, and they started the early work on figuring out how to even automate parking, which we got to this point. So I can't agree more. And I think we here in the US tend to be so just within our own bubble, right? And so it's like we're looking at, well, you know, there's no real clear examples of that much. I mean, New York City has some, which is great, but surprisingly not as much as the city deserves or needs. You know, like there should be more.
That's very New York. It's a very interesting market for us, you know, because it has all the similar qualities as Seoul, you know, and like, how is this not a thing over there? You know, there's so many traffic problems and there's so many people. How are buildings not actually taking this as a real solution for their problems.
Yeah.
It's very interesting, actually.
It is. I think there was a urbanist that I definitely want to try to bring onto this podcast, but he was talking about, what will be radical in that city is if they outlawed personal car usage within the city. So you would obviously have the Ubers, the Lyfts, the buses, the garbage trucks. So all of the public vehicles that that are required will be there, but it would drastically reduce congestion and traffic if you just remove the personal usage. So and that might be the case for South Korea. Who knows if that'll ever happen? But yeah, I think high traffic areas, these parking systems, like you said, is a necessity, not a luxury. But even beyond that, there's even further ideas. I think, more there, even for us brickwork, we've already seen the data from the UN, and by 2050, there's going to be like 70% of the world's population from rural to urban, and that's a lot of people in small spaces. Right? How are we going to solve this? Can't just be parking. Of course, parking is super important, and I can't agree more. It's got to be also the usage of cars. I think there's a lot of people that shouldn't have a car. If they live and work within the city, you don't need a car to get around, right? But the thing is, we're not like regulating that. We're not telling them. It's your choice. And if they have a choice, they're gonna get a car, and that's why we have congestion.
You cannot expect people to just give up their cars to actually solve the bigger wellness of the whole city. That is not gonna happen, right? You have to accommodate. There's something that I really like to tell people when I start talking to them about parking system is that the world has already coped with what it's high population, right? You've seen cities going up. Every city has been going up to accommodate the people. So now it's time for the parking to also go up or go down to accommodate the cars, And it is not that difficult for the parking systems. In this industry, we work mainly with developers and architects, as you know. So there are many developers who are scared, who don't know, who are afraid to actually approach one of these parking system companies because they don't know what they're going to come up with. And let me just clear that taboo right now, is that it is super easy. I would say that every company or developer that is thinking, at least just thinking of the idea of go ahead and installing a parking system, should just approach. Because you don't know how many benefits you're going to get just by approaching and telling someone, hey, I have this amount of cars that I have to accommodate in this less space. As a second option, just go ahead and provide me a solution to see if we can see it. Starting from there, you already change a project. You already change a whole development just by go ahead, approach and ask, right? So this type of things.
No, go ahead.
No, please continue.
No, so I was going to share, this is exactly why another perfect segue is that we are going to partner up here, right? Because I feel strongly that more of your solutions should be applied here in LA, right? If not other dense cities. So what we want to do is probably announce that sometime in the very near future, we're going to start offering to present developers with your solution. We'll come up with a questionnaire that they need to sign up, and after one of our reports, you can take a look at, we'll provide obviously what you can and can't do, minimum requirement, the buildable envelope, and all that stuff that you are used to already seeing on your other for your other developers. But at least we now want to provide alternatives and your system and see what you would recommend. And it's so customizable. So it requires this step. It really requires taking a look at the space uniquely and then coming up with what your solution is. So just want to announce to everyone that's watching, it's coming soon. So I can't wait. So I guess let's go into final thoughts, right? Whatever you want to discuss, share with what you want, and then what we'll do right after that is share your new marketing video. I love how you guys are approaching this as more of a lifestyle, because it is, right? Like, you're right, it's developers obviously have penciling in mind what the project costs are going to be, and profitability. I get all of that, right? But then in the end, who's living, who's using it, right? And so I can't agree more that you should really focus on lifestyle and usability. Yeah.
I just lost you right there. I just lost connection for a second. I didn't.
Oh yeah, no worries. No. So I was just saying, right now, what we'll do is final thoughts, where if you want to share something that you guys are working on, or any kind of information you want to share, and then what we'll do is we'll debut your marketing video here for everyone, and with contact information, of course, on how to reach you. But then ultimately, like I announced, we're gonna provide a questionnaire and a way for our users to have access to you, right, on their projects, so that you could help customize and recommend a solution, right, on a move forward. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, if you want to just share a final thought for users, for LA, for something that's upcoming.
I would say briefly two things. And one is that, again, for developers and architects to not be afraid to actually knock on some doors for parking system solutions, because at the end of the day, when you have, for example, let's say 145,000 square meters, big box, where you have to accommodate 400 cars, let's say you have a big box of this amount of these dimensions, you have to accommodate 400 cars. And then just by knocking on the door of a parking system company, you can go ahead and reduce that to only 50,000 square meters, accommodate the same or even more amount of parking spaces, the same 400, and then you have a leftover of 95,000 square meters that you can use to actually generate more apartments, residence, retail. This is money we're talking here, it's not only space.
Hello, I'm MPSystem.
And I'm Other Parking System. Excuse me, can you hold on for a second? MPSystem, can you help me explain this client? It's not our job to keep their car clean or remove dust. It's impossible. It goes against the law of nature.
I mean, well, maybe you can't, but MPSystem comes with an integrated UV light and steam shower equipment that sanitizes your car while eliminating dust.
Like a car wash type of thing?
Much better.
Nah, that's too technical.
I mean, it is part of MPSystem already. We're all about making users' life better and easier.
You know what? I have a better idea.
How's that?
You talk to them.
All right, well, that was Annie and the marketing video. I'm going to provide contacts, but obviously we'll have a means to have our users be able to access their proposals and their customizations for their development. So thank you so much, and hope to see you on the next episode.